Have you ever felt that? Even with everything going right in your life, something still seems to be missing? Like there's this emptiness that no amount of success, relationships, or achievements can truly fill. If that resonates with you, you're not alone. Today, I want to tell you a story that captures this feeling perfectly and reveals a surprisingly simple yet profound solution, a kind of instant spiritual awakening. This is the story of Davis, a middle-aged man living an ordinary life. To most people, Davis's life would look typical. He lived alone in a small town, worked in a factory, and spent his days following the same routine. But despite his stable job and predictable life, Davis felt that something important was missing. Inside, there was a hole he couldn't explain, a nagging feeling that there had to be more to life than this cycle he was caught in. He had a son, Michael, who visited him from the city about once a month. When they'd meet, they'd talk about the usual things: work, the weather, and the news. But despite all their conversations, they never actually talked about anything real. They never touched on their feelings, their fears, or their dreams. It was like a wall stood between them, preventing any truly meaningful connection. Then one day, something odd happened. As Davis walked to work, he noticed a bright red bird that landed right next to him, chirped 3 times, and flew away. Strange, right? He brushed it off at first, but then the same thing happened the next day, and the day after that. Each time, the bird landed in the same spot, chirped 3 times, and flew off. Davis couldn't help but wonder, was this some kind of sign? Small, seemingly random events like this started to happen in Davis's life. A little girl handed him a flower at the grocery store. He found a book on a park bench with the title The Simple Path. A stranger gave him a warm smile and told him, "Have a wonderful day." It was as if the world itself was gently nudging him, whispering something he couldn't yet understand. One evening, as he sat on his porch watching the sunset, he noticed the beauty of the sky in a way he never had before. The colors, the calmness, everything seemed to wash over him. And for the first time in a long time, he felt at peace. For a brief moment, all his worries, his loneliness, his sense of something missing disappeared. Now, you might wonder, what happened to Davis? How did these small events, these seemingly insignificant moments, have such a profound impact on him? And what did he realize from it all? Let's dive in and explore. What happened to Davis is a phenomenon many people experience at some point in their lives. When things feel repetitive, empty, or unfulfilling, they find themselves searching for something more. And the answer? It's often not something big, not some grand achievement or dramatic change. Instead, it's something beautifully simple. Davis began to experience what we can call a spiritual awakening. This doesn't mean some mystical, otherworldly event. Rather, it's a shift in perspective, a change in how you see and experience life. Davis's awakening was sparked by the tiniest of details: a bird's song, a stranger's smile, a child's flower. But it was precisely in these small moments that he found a sense of peace and connection he hadn't felt before. In spirituality, there's a concept called oneness. It's the feeling of being deeply connected to everything around you, of belonging to the world in a way that's beyond words. When Davis looked out at the sunset and allowed himself to simply be, he tapped into this sense of oneness. All the stresses, worries, and the feeling of missing something faded away. For that brief moment, he wasn't just a man sitting on a porch. He was part of something much larger, something whole and complete. What Davis discovered, and what his story teaches us, is that we often overcomplicate our search for happiness. We tell ourselves that we need to achieve something big, buy something new, or change who we are to feel complete. But maybe, just maybe, true happiness isn't found in doing more, but in noticing more. It's not about adding things to our lives, but about seeing what's already there with fresh eyes. The story of Davis's awakening reminds us of the power of presence. Presence means being fully engaged in the here and now, without getting lost in thoughts about the past or the future. When we're truly present, we start to notice the world in a different way. We see the beauty in the everyday, the colors of a flower, the sound of a bird, the warmth of the sun. But how often do we actually allow ourselves to be present? Think about it. How often do you truly take in the world around you without thinking about something else? Without a mental to-do list running in the background? For most of us, it's rare. We're so busy, so wrapped up in what needs to get done, that we overlook the small moments of beauty and connection right in front of us. Davis's experience with the red bird, the flower, and the sunset were moments where he allowed himself to just be. He stopped overthinking, stopped worrying, and simply observed. And in doing so, he tapped into a kind of peace that's available to all of us, if we only take the time to notice it. One of the most profound lessons in this story is about the illusion of something missing. Davis spent so many years feeling like there was a hole in his heart, a gap he couldn't fill. But when he began to be present, to let go of his thoughts and simply observe, he found that the peace he'd been looking for was always right there. Why do we feel like something's missing in our lives? For many of us, it's because we're conditioned to believe that happiness lies somewhere outside of us. We think, if I could just get that promotion, or if I could just find the perfect relationship, then I'd be happy. But these things, while they can bring temporary satisfaction, rarely fill that deeper need for connection and peace. What Davis realized, and what many people discover through spiritual awakening, is that true peace isn't something we find by searching outwardly. It's something we discover by going inward, by letting go of our constant need for more, and instead focusing on what's right in front of us. Another key part of Davis's journey is the idea of letting go of overthinking. We all know what it's like to have a mind that never stops. We worry about the future, dwell on the past, and constantly analyze everything. But this endless cycle of thoughts creates mental noise, preventing us from experiencing the present moment fully. The old man Davis met in the story gave him simple advice. Have you ever just watched a flower bloom? Not thinking about what kind of flower it is, or how long it will last, just watching it. This advice is deceptively powerful. When we look at something without analyzing it, without trying to figure it out or put a label on it, we see it for what it truly is. And sometimes, in that stillness, we catch a glimpse of ourselves in moments of pure presence, like watching a flower or a sunset. We're able to step out of the constant mental chatter, and it's in these quiet spaces that peace, clarity, and even joy can emerge. When Davis allowed himself to watch that flower bloom without judgment, he experienced a kind of simplicity and ease that had eluded him for so long. In the story, Davis eventually passes away peacefully in his sleep. His son, Michael, returns to the small town and finds his father's journal. As he reads through his father's reflections on life, on noticing the simple things, he decides to try it himself. At first, he's skeptical, but as he sits in his father's garden, watching the same flower his father had, he feels the same peace wash over him. And in that moment, he realizes the lesson his father left behind. Through his awakening, Davis found a way to live that brought him joy and fulfillment. And this simple wisdom became a legacy for his son. It's a reminder that the most profound gifts we can leave behind aren't material. They're the lessons we learn, the peace we discover, and the example we set. For Michael, this legacy transformed his life. He returned to the city with a new outlook, making time each day to be present, to notice the small things, and to find peace in the simple beauty around him. And even though Davis was gone, his lessons lived on, bringing happiness and meaning to his son's life. The story of Davis and Michael is a powerful reminder that spiritual awakening isn't something mystical or out of reach. It's about seeing the world with a fresh perspective, learning to appreciate the small, beautiful moments that make up our days. When we let go of our endless search for something more, when we allow ourselves to be fully present, we often find that the peace and connection we've been looking for were there all along. So, if you've ever felt that nagging sense of something missing, maybe it's time to stop searching and start noticing. Try to take a few minutes each day to simply be, to watch a flower, listen to the birds, or feel the warmth of the sun on your face. You might just find that these small moments hold the answer you've been looking for. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery. And remember, sometimes the simplest things hold the deepest truths. If you found this story inspiring and you want to continue exploring the power of connection and mindfulness, please take a moment to like this video. Share it with someone who might need a little extra positivity in their life. And subscribe to our channel. By joining our community, you'll receive more uplifting stories and insights that can help you find peace and joy in the everyday. Let's spread this energy of connection together. Thank you for being here. And remember, the simple moments can lead to profound awakenings.